And
One
that
of
was
the
awesome.
one of the distinctions, thank you very much. One of the distinctions I talk about is what's called monetizable passion. Just because you love something don't mean you can make a living at it. That's called a hobby. Yes?
Yes.
My wife and I are studying salsa dancing. Okay? No one in their
That's
right
awesome.
mind would pay us to salsa dance. That's fun. Okay? So you have to understand that you may work in a field or have a job that you don't love, but you really enjoy that pays the bills. And that pays for your passion, which is hang gliding, for example. Okay? No one's going to pay you to hang glide, but every year for 2 weeks you go somewhere else in the world and you do your hang gliding and you get that out of your system. And then you go back to the job that you like where they treat you well and you're making some kind of an impact. You don't love it, but it pays the bills. It's good.
Mosaic minds, we're here to explore. With every exchange, we crave even more. Diverse perspectives are guiding flame. In the realm of ideas, we play the
It is going to be a good day. It is going to be positive. The sun's rising today. You know, we're going to have a great day regardless of weather or attitude or anything else.
Together we dive where dreams intertwine. Uncover the layers, let the realness shine. Each tale a treasure, each question a guide. In this space of connection, let's take the ride. Moments of wonder, reflections
My professional.
collide.
Yeah, we're in the golf course.
It works.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started then. Welcome back to another episode of Mosaic Minds Podcast. My name's Nick. This is Jason, and today we are joined by Dr. Chaz Austin. He's a leading expert in career development and personal branding, and he's the guy teaching people how to market themselves in a world where traditional jobs are kind of disappearing. He has a doctorate in organizational leadership and a career helping folks become self-sufficient professionals. He's here to drop some serious knowledge on thriving in this gig economy that we're living in right now. So, Dr. Chaz, welcome to the show. Oh, and he also has a brand new book out, and he just showed it to me, and there it is.
There it is.
How to Find Work
For the rest of your life.
for the rest of your life. So we'll definitely get into that and talk about that a little more as well. But Chaz, welcome to the show. Thanks for being on.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about, you have a pretty diverse background. Seems like you've been doing this for a really long time, but why don't you explain to our audience just kind of what this is and what it is that you do on a regular basis and what you've done over the years?
I've been doing this work about 20 years, and what I've lately, for the last few years, addressed specifically is the gig economy. People don't know what that is. It means that the traditional idea of working for a company, being loyal to them, moving up the ladder, retiring after 30 years with a gold watch and some kind of a pension, that's gone. So basically we're on our own and no one's prepared for that. Everybody did the right thing. I went to school, I got a degree, I know how to dress for an interview, I know how to answer questions. Forget about getting a job, I can't even get an interview. There must be something wrong with me. And there's nothing wrong with you. As I tell my private clients and my students, they move the goalposts, but nobody told you.
Yeah.
Whole new set of rules. That's my job. The truth shall set you free, but first it's going to piss you off.
Yeah.
That's my job, is to let you know that things have changed and here's the new rules and here's how to not only navigate this new world, but flourish in it.
Yeah, I really love this topic because Jason and I, we work in education, and I always talk about how, for somebody that works at a college, I'm awful cynical about the traditional college degree. We work at a trade school. I work in financial aid and he works in admissions. And I think if you're going to go to a college, I feel like that is the way to go now because, I've told my kids, I'm like, unless you have a plan, in my opinion anyway, unless you have a plan, just going to college just to get that fancy piece of paper, it's no longer as valuable as it used to be.
I'm the bridge between traditional academia and trade schools. I've taught at a lot of trade colleges. Yeah. Both have their advantages. If you look at my doctoral dissertation, my dream is to have my program, a mandatory program of teaching people to self-market as part of the college curriculum. Mandatory coursework from day one. So you learn critical thinking, you learn liberal arts. That's great. It improves your worldview, improves your critical thinking skills. But what's that for? It's not for a piece of paper and $100,000 in debt. What are you going to do with what you've learned? How do you monetize your education? And you have to have a sense of how to do that from day one. You have to be trained how to do that. So you come out not only with a degree, but you're working. You're working long before you've ever graduated, and you're doing something that'll be of benefit to other people that utilizes your skill set, your experience, and your contacts.
I love that. Yeah, so that's one of the things that I think is a benefit, and I think Jason would agree, of a trade school. Isn't just whatever the trade is, but I feel like the trade schools tend to teach you the soft skills a little bit better than a traditional college does, because at a traditional college, it's kind of like you go into the auditorium or whatever, you listen to the seminar, the professor a lot of times walks off stage as if, he just ended his rock concert, and that is kind of the end of things. So I think that what you're talking about, having a program, having a class like that, would be a huge advantage to people today in education.
Yeah, that's how I forged a career in this, is I saw a real gap between academia, whether it's trade colleges or traditional colleges, and the business world. We're not preparing people for the business world. So my colleagues would complain all the time, what are you teaching these kids? They don't know how to talk to me. They don't know what I do. They think I'm running a camp. They want a fun environment where they learn a lot, and it's get a life, okay? What are you going to do for me? So a lot of what I do in training people to self-market is you focus on the target audience. What do they need? This is not about you. How can you take your skill set and help the people that you want to work for, trading what you know for their money? Yes? That's how you want to focus and change your focus, that you are of service to other people. You're of service to businesses in some way, using what you've got. What do you need? Not what I want. What do you need? How can I help you, sir or ma'am?
Dr. Chaz, we're at a community center in Hawaii. Since you got the Hawaiian shirt on, you walk into me, we're playing Scrabble. We can self-allocate the letters on front of the little Scrabble board that you're making. What's 3 words that are going to come up on your Scrabble pieces to describe your innovation in the industry that you're in?
3 words. First of all, career training. That's 2 words.
That's fine. We'll make up our own rules as we go, right?
Career training and contribution. How can you contribute your skill set to the world? As Muhammad Ali said, service is the rent we pay for our room here on earth. So money's certainly the hook, and when I teach this stuff, the first thing I do is put a big dollar sign on the whiteboard. That gets their attention.
Yeah.
But that's really a head fake, because ultimately it's more than the money. It's how can you be of use, how can you be a contribution to people in whatever field you're in and make money. So
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Who's your demographic? Like, who's your main clientele that you speak to, or is it incredibly diverse?
What's interesting about this is it's the same conversation regardless of industry or age. I've worked with people from 14 to 84. It's the same conversation. What can you do? Can you monetize it? And who's your target audience? How do you find your brand, articulate it, and sell it? And it's something you're going to do for the rest of your life. You have 2 jobs now. One is whatever you do. The other one is selling. Your skills, your talent, yourself. The most important thing in college is not what you learn. I have 3 degrees. I have a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate. A lot of it was a waste of time. A lot of it was busy work. The most important thing, and Joseph Kennedy said this, John Kennedy's father, most important thing in going to college is meeting people and making contacts. You might learn something, yeah, but very much education still back in the early 20th century. It's all about busy work, teaching to the test, memorization, stuff you don't need in the real world. What matters are the relationships you build and how people in your industry or the industry you want to get into know what it is you offer and can connect you with people who will say, oh, I want that. When can you start?
Yeah, and I think that we're all probably talking a little bit more about fields that are less specialized too. Like it's one thing if you're going to school to be, to be a doctor or to be an attorney or something like that, but so many people will go to school and get a general business bachelor's degree or a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, which is just so broad that, like that's just not, I think those are that's probably what you're talking about as far as the connections and that kind of thing goes, right? And like what the positivity, I guess, of going to college for something like that would be.
Yes, you have to look beyond the degree. What's it for? It's a tool. It's not an end in itself. Look, I have a piece of paper, hire me. No, kiddo, it doesn't work that way anymore. You start building relationships with people, defining what it is you can offer to the industry you want to work in, upskilling constantly. You're always learning after school forever. Yes? And then being of service to people, contributing to that industry. So I look beyond the degree. What are you going to do with the degree? What's it for? Yes? What's the purpose of it? It's not an end it's not an end in itself.
I think if I go back to the analogy earlier, you almost got to have two Scrabble boards taped together. I see a lot of your efforts being philanthropy, right?
Yeah.
The analogy that I'm going to give you is, and I apologize, but my family has about 100 years in the education sector as teachers or administrators. I think if I put a metal detector into your hand, it's easy to find that gold or platinum or whatever expensive metal that you have, because that could be your kicker to get in the door, right? But it's finding that copper, that less metal, less skill that person has. So for instance, the example that I'm going to give you is I have a broadcasting degree. If you interview me, I'm going to be a rapid fire guy. I don't care what you ask me and what I'm saying. I'm going to rapid fire you because it instills a sense of confidence. I'm going to try to have my head level the same as yours. I'm going to try to have my hands in a folded position because that shows a warmth to you. Don't need to teach you all that. You already know that. But what's an underrated skill or two that you come across that when you see it, you're like, this guy will be a good client, or I'm going to uncover that? What are you looking for life that person can bring to the table on your side of the desk?
Listening without judgment would be the answer. And most people listen in order to
Respond.
wait until you're done talking and give their opinion, which is better than yours. Yeah. So it's a skill you have to learn over time. Listening without judgment. That's critically important in whatever you're doing, not just sales, but anything, is that you listen. I have a wonderful new primary care physician. And the first time I met him, he's a young guy. The first time I met him, he just listened to me talk for 20 minutes. He didn't examine me at all until he got a sense of, this is who I am, this is my condition, this I had cancer last year, and then he examined me. So we developed a relationship beforehand, before he ever touched my body or looked at anything or checked my breathing, so that there was a sense of trust. People hire who they know and trust. The way I put it is the front door is filled with resumes that nobody's reading. If I'm going to find a job with your company, let's say you have a company, I want to find a job with your company. My job to get that job is to get to know you, is to develop some kind of a relationship professionally with you, probably through volunteer work, so that I get to audition with you and you get to see what a good team player I am and how smart I am and so on and so forth. Because you're going to hire me because you know me and trust me. So if I can learn to listen and have a good sense of what it is you need, I can tailor what I do to whatever it is I can do for you. And if it's not me, I have colleagues who can do that. I can't do that, but I know you need someone who can do X. I have a colleague I'd like you to meet who can help you in that way.
I really like that because it's biblical, but it's common sense too, in my opinion. You're just sowing the seeds. The water and the sun is going to sprout that seed up, but you may not get the business right on, but oh yeah, hey, now 3 years from now, I didn't get that XYZ position. You're the first guy because you've built that relationship, as opposed to the guy that's kind of going for the jugular and trying to make you $75,000 more than you've ever made. I think you got to run that middle road. Agree on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. The relationships are developed over time. The line I use with my young male college students is go into a bar, go up to a strange woman and say, "Hi, would you like to sleep with me?" and see what happens. Unless you're
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, ain't gonna happen, okay?
Right.
It's developed over time. You will not hire me based on my resume or 45 minutes in front of you. You can't take the risk. However, if I've used the side door and I volunteered for an industry organization that you're part of, and we've gotten to know each other over time, and we've worked together, we've volunteered together, we've had coffee, we've had beers, whatever. You get to know who I am, trust develops. Yes, and then when you have an opening, you turn to me and say, "Listen, we've got an opening, we like your style, would you be interested?" And
Yeah.
all the people who may have better resumes than I do never get seen. You just
Yeah.
can't take the risk, and that's human nature. There's nothing to answer to riff off of what you said. None of this is nuclear physics. It's all common sense. What I've done is codified it into a training so people access relationships and build relationships with people. And the people they work with in their industry that they develop these relationships with have a clear sense of who they are and what they offer.
Do you feel like that anybody can learn this? I mean, like if they're willing, can anybody learn to, to network, maybe to even sell, I guess, a little bit? Like it doesn't have to be sales, but like to sell, sell yourself, that kind of thing. Do you think anybody can learn that?
Yeah, that we learned how to use this.
It's true. Yep.
Smartphones did not exist before 2007.
Yep.
You learn to use those, you can learn to self-market. And the caveat I always have, and this always blows people's mind, my clients and my students, I don't care if you like it. Huh? You may hate it. It's a necessary skill. Yeah, you learn to use a smartphone.
That's a good point.
If you move to Chicago, you're going to need a winter coat. It's heavy and bulky, but if you don't want to freeze, that's what you got to have. So this is the medicine you have to take, okay, in order to get you the work that you're going to enjoy doing and make hopefully a lot of money at for the rest of your life. So so it's that.
I'm a big believer in the whole, like get comfortable with being uncomfortable thing, like do things that you are not comfortable doing, step outside of that comfort zone, even if it's not something that is going to point you in a direction that you're trying to go. Something about just building up those calluses and doing things that you're not used to doing, takes you in different directions.
If you want it badly enough, you will do whatever it takes. Okay? The issue is urgency. You know you want it and you know what you need to do. That's nice. That's awareness. Are you going to get into action? You can do something and talk about it. Because you've been talking about it, bitching to your friends about how crappy your life is and how you really want to do X. But until you do it, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters in life is action. So to further elaborate on your question, anyone can learn this. Baby boomers tend to be very resistant, though. It's tough for them. Millennials, Gen Z, they're more open. They're used to this. They're used to working freelance. Baby boomers, they're very entitled. They say millennials are entitled, baby boomers are entitled. I deserve a job. I deserve hair, okay? Ain't gonna happen. It doesn't work that way. So they're resistant. They're resistant to social media, privacy. I said, there is no privacy. Forget about that. You need to jump into it. There's a great line from Avatar, The Way of Water. If you can't get out of it, get into it.
Yeah. We were just talking about, actually with our last guest, we were just talking about, and how rapidly everything is forming. And so a lot of people are scared of it, and I can understand why. I mean, a part of me is scared of it as well, but because I know it's not going anywhere and it's only going to keep going, I've been throwing myself full force into it, like trying to learn as much as I possibly can about it, because I'll be honest with you, the job that I do, in a few years, it could easily be replaced with AI. I have no doubt about it in my mind because it's so administrative. You know what I mean? So I mean, like I've been throwing myself into it. So I mean, how does that factor into what you do? Because I would imagine you've done this so long that you've had to extremely evolve from how it began to what it is right now.
It's touching on it, not directly yet. It will. I agree with you, and I'm learning everything I can. It's a great tool. But like any tool, like a hammer, you can hammer nails or you can hammer someone in the head. It's how you use it. Yes? So AI is a useful tool. I had the same issue with distance learning, which I personally don't like. I have 3 courses on LinkedIn Learning, which have netted me a ton of money in royalties over the years. I don't like distance learning. Some people do. I had a good friend who said to me, get on the train or get run over. So you don't have to like AI, you don't have to like distance learning. If that's the way your industry's going, that's what you need to learn, and you don't have to like it. This whole idea of, well, I don't enjoy this. I'm sorry, you have a dog, this is in my book. You have a dog, you like the dog, you have to pick up after the dog.
Yeah, you got to feed him.
That's the price of having the dog. This is the price of, you have to learn whatever you have to learn, and some of it in your industry you're not going to enjoy. Embrace it. You're going to need it because your clients are going to want it. So no choice. Just go for it.
So I think the feedback I'm going to give you is I don't, I'm going to say 10 to 15 minutes. I think I'm about right. We're 10 to 15 minutes into this, and we're having a real in-depth flowing conversation, right? It's almost like, maybe we've had a 90-minute segment with you before this, building up to this. So I'm going to ask you a bizarre question. In the theme of Mosaic Minds, we like to look through that stained glass window of interchangeable colors, kind of like the sunlight coming through a church, and then that real bright. So you, Nick, and I are heading up to a roller coaster. There's 3 sections you can sit in: the front, the middle, and the back. How is that conversation going to go with yourself, Nick, and I determining where everybody's going to sit, and we have to make that quick decision? And this isn't random. I'm going to go somewhere with it, I promise you.
Just off the top of my head, based on that, we sit wherever is comfortable. It's just a roller coaster. So it doesn't really matter. If we're going to do some work together, we're not going to be on the roller coaster. Because
Exactly.
we can't hear each other. We're too busy screaming and white knuckling. So that's the quick answer to that one. It's just like leadership. It's situational. Okay, I have a doctorate in leadership from Pepperdine University. To my mind, leadership is situational. So in this case, you're the leaders. I'm following. If you're in my classroom, I'm the leader. You're following. It's not like I was imbued to be a leader in every situation. If we play softball together and I manage the team, we will lose. Okay? Not my strength. I need to bat ninth and catch. And I need to be comfortable with the fact that sometimes I'm a leader, sometimes I'm not. So where we sit on the roller coaster, if it's just a roller coaster ride, doesn't matter. Okay? But if you want to put it in a different environment, I can answer the question a little differently.
So the lead in, I was going to go with that. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to get this right. You've kind of went over the hill as far as overcoming a health hurdle. Is that correct?
Overcoming a health issue, did you say?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I had cancer.
Got it. Okay, so when you go over and you crest that hill and you've overcome that, what perspective do you bring to the table now that maybe you didn't have that perspective before that diagnosis, bringing that into today's world?
That's a great question. People say when you have a life-threatening illness like that, and I had 35 radiation treatments over 7 weeks, 5 days a week, 7 weeks. Blew out the hearing in my right ear. I've got scar tissue in here. Otherwise, I'm fine. And they say you have revelations. I'm going to devote myself to something. And I realized my life works. I have a fabulous marriage. We've been married next week. It'll be 20 years. Okay. I love my work.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I love my work. I make a lot of money. That's a career, and I make a real difference in people's lives. I know that. I've gotten testimonials over and over again. So my revelation was, I just want to do more of that. That's it. I didn't want to change anything. I'm not going to now dedicate myself to something else, or I'm going to have a bucket list and I'm going to go travel the world. Nothing like that. My life works. I just want to keep doing it. I want to do more of it and expand it. But I'm very happy I've gotten to this point in my life where things work great. Just keep it coming.
Being in admissions, that's a beautiful answer, because I can't tell you, it's not really graduation that gets you. When I walked out of a creek and I was sweaty from fly fishing, and the young lady says, for the first time, I was a dental person making $15 more per hour. To me, I don't want to say that's you, but like, we have those same stories of we almost get more value in the success of others than we do our own success. But then if our success is driven and it's something you like, then that's a major win too. That's a tip to the cap, because I do something similar that you do, but in different aspects of it.
Yeah. There's a great quote by Harvey Firestone. We only permanently succeed when we help others to succeed. I'm not quite getting the quote, so you can look it up. Are we editing this? Are you gonna edit this afterwards? Because I have something that involves a curse word.
Go ahead.
No, go
Is
ahead.
that
We,
okay?
we can edit, but we won't. The curse
So
word's not going to stop us at all. Go ahead.
People have a bucket list, right? Things and to your point about when I had the cancer, what did I think about what was next if I overcome it, when I overcome it? What are you going to do on your bucket list? I don't have a bucket list. I have a fuck it list. Things that I will never do, and it's okay. Yeah, because I'm very fulfilled with my life. It's great, wonderful friends, marriage, career, all that. I will not get to the Taj Mahal, and it's okay. Yeah, a lot of things I will not do. It's okay. Fuck it. Okay, I'm going to focus on what works for me and works for the people that I'm of service to and contribute to. And it keeps growing. And it's a wonderful thing. I'm very fulfilled. Things are great. So I don't get to do certain things. It's okay.
Yeah, I love that because I know that personally, and I know lots of people that do this, but I get wrapped up sometimes in thinking, oh, there's so many things I have to do. There's so many experiences I still have to have. And yeah, I'd like to think I have some time left to do some of those things, but no matter how old you are, it doesn't matter if you're just born, you're never going to do it all. So no. I really like that. That's a great outlook.
I like to use quirky analogies, but to me, that's a plant that's living, breathing. You're watering it, you're fertilizing it. I'm always the guy though that wants to put an extra plant and almost overflow it or oversaturate the water that you're giving it. The example I'm going to give you is my father used to have a classroom and he had about an 18-inch window, and it was one of those glasses that's kind of like structured to where you can't see out of it, but yet the sunlight can come in. I don't know how to say that. It's kind of weird, but he used to prune the geraniums frequently because he was always pulling off the dead leaves, and he'd do this for a long time. And I looked at him like he was crazy, but looking back 30 years ago, 40 years ago, it was because he was taking pride in his craft. He enjoyed that. That was his sense of solitude, to look at that plant with the light coming in. And I think that's what you get, is you see the sunlight and the fruits of that person, because I can guarantee you a client that you had X amount of time that's now a CEO, that's now, let's be honest, they don't have to be that. They just have to be better than they were when you saw them, or seeing them and they say thank you, a random email that you get. It doesn't matter how you communicate. That's the fuel that keeps us alive and wanting to thrive, because that's the putting the gas in the tank. Doesn't matter the grade. It's got to keep the car running. Expand upon that a little bit for me.
Opaque may be the word you were searching for.
There you go. Perfect.
My philosophy on leadership is that I'm a gardener. I create a safe environment where the people I work with can be nurtured and grow. That's a great leader in my mind. Yes, a safe space for people where they feel comfortable and valued, and when they come to me as a leader, I don't shut them down. So often people say, bosses say, my door is always open. Yeah, sorry, go in there, and I walk out, I'm a flat tire. I'm never going back. Yeah, I'm never going back because this guy does not get me, and he's abusive. It's not a safe space. I create safe spaces for people so that they're comfortable coming in with wacky ideas, which we may use because they see things I don't. Yes, they're on the ground, they're the infantry. I'm in the background a little. I want to hear from them, and I want them to know it's okay to say that, and we might adapt it, we might goose it a little and change it, but I appreciate that. Steve Jobs said, you hire people smarter than you, and that's your job, and you listen to them and make it so it's okay for them to be heard and appreciated. The main reason people work is that they're appreciated and recognized for their contributions. Money is second. People join companies and leave bosses because they're not treated well and they don't want to be in abusive relationships.
I'm sure that you probably already do this, but if you were to do like a clinic, like you just a 30-minute clinic, let's say at a community center or something, you're just helping some people that, that want to come and get into the workforce. Maybe they've gone through some things and they're having a hard time getting work, whatever it might be. If you just had like a, 15-minute, 30-minute clinic, what would be some of the highlights that you would give to that group of people, okay, this is how I get you back in the workforce. This is what I need you to know when you leave here today in order to better, your...
Good question. The first thing I do in every course I teach is a student information form. Their basic contact information and the short-term and long-term goals in terms of their career. Short-term, mid-term, long-term goals is how I address all that. So I customize it for each person. Everybody's a little different. I want to start my own business. Great. Okay. I want to be a nurse. So that's the long-term goal. What's the short-term goal? Well, I need to go to college and get a degree. Great. And then what's next? So it's very much like a 12-step program. What's your goal and what are the steps you need to take? And it's not just for career, it's for anything in life. Yes, you want to buy a car, you don't walk into a car lot and go, I'll take that one. Hello?
Yeah.
You want to test drive it? You want to find out if it has had any accidents? Come on. Yeah, you have to do the research. But if you want to be a nurse badly enough, the first step is you have to apply to college for a nursing degree. Then you have to get your RN. And in the meantime, according to my program, you're making contacts with nurses and hospital administrators. So the moment you graduate, you've got work. Because you've already worked in the hospital, they already know you and trust you. So it's customized for each individual. And I've had enormous success with this. Again, it's not nuclear physics. It's a codified version of building relationships with people for the purpose of either making them money or saving them money. You froze up.
Chaz, I think you froze up here.
What I said was so startling that you just froze.
There we go. Now we're back. I'm not sure what happened. I heard a tiny buzz and then it froze. I'm like, oh, that was just so profound that we all had to take a shot. You know what I mean? Like,
ever freeze?
aha moment. Yes.
But yeah, again, to amplify that point, if you're dealing with business, which in some way you always are, how can you either make the company money or save them money? One or the other. That's what you have to demonstrate. These are the specific things I can do for you. So I have to work with people all the time because, on their resume or when they talk about themselves and their good qualities. I use the SWOT analysis for individuals. Okay, I've adapted it for individuals. What are your strengths? Well, I'm a hard worker and I'm a good team player and I learn fast. No, job descriptions are not that. Specifically, what can you do for me? Always directed at the audience. What do they need? It's all about other people. So whatever crap you've got, you're shy, you don't do well at interviews, you don't speak well to people, you need to push that out of the way because it's not about yourself, it's about other people. What can you do for other people?
I like it. On the second letter there, you got the weakness. I think it's cool to say something like a weakness is it's hard for me to finish in second place. As opposed to, well, I freeze up and I get clammy when I'm in a meeting with 12 people. Because don't you agree with me that people self-sabotage? Like, I hate to say this, but if I'm interviewing X person, I'm going to remember that the rest of the interview, and the interview might as well end. And then I think, go ahead on that.
I don't know that they self-sabotage as much as they undervalue themselves.
There you go.
People are not used to marketing themselves. So, by the way, I changed what's weaknesses to what's missing. Because I don't consider a weakness in the SWOT analysis. It's what's missing. I need to be an RN. I need a degree. I wanted to teach at the university level. I needed a doctorate. I got a doctorate. You want it badly enough again, you'll do whatever it takes. So go back. I lost it. Your question one more time, please.
So basically, like when you're analyzing a situation, like I guess what I'm trying to say is like certain stuff shouldn't come up in that interview. So like if you ask me what a weakness is, I may answer it to where it's almost a strength to the next person that interviews. So like, how do you keep it? What I'm going to say, what's your playbook for a person that's interviewing for X position as you're the coach?
I'm going to answer in an oblique way. Stop focusing on the resume and stop focusing on the interview.
Love it.
If I interview with you cold, you got my resume, you liked it, and I'm meeting with you for half an hour, 45 minutes, I ain't getting the job, okay? Because you're not going to trust that. So don't worry about the interview so much, okay? I'm going to be able to avoid the formal interview because I already know you and you know me. And we've developed a relationship professionally outside of work, Okay, so that there's no formal interview. I don't get funky questions. You don't have to ask funky, stupid questions. If you were a vegetable, what vegetable would you do? That's insulting. You already know me. So it basically comes down to, I have an opening. I have a good sense of what you need. Here's the salary. Here's the benefits. Will that work for you? Can you start tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe
And
this is the wrong.
we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
People-
this is the wrong
people-
way to look at it. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you
I
go.
was gonna say maybe this is the wrong way to look at it, but I've always been pretty comfortable with interviews because I go into it with almost like a back and forth. Like it's a conversation. It's not a matter of who wins, but I don't want to lose. Like I want to go in and I'm going to ask you questions. I'm going to interview you.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the wrong attitude, but that's kind of how I've always been. Like I'm not going to go in there and let somebody. You mentioned earlier talking about going up to somebody in a bar. It's very similar to to meeting somebody, going on a date or something like that. Like you don't want to overpower the conversation, but at the same time, I'm not going to let somebody walk all over me, whether it's an employer or somebody that I'm talking to in a bar.
You have to see if there's a fit for both parties. So what I do is I build my clients to themselves, their brand, yes, by using the SWOT analysis and looking at their strengths and expanding on those because they don't realize how much they do offer, yes. But don't worry about the interview so much. You ain't getting laid by asking a woman at a bar you never met, and you're probably not going to get the job based on, I don't care how well you did at the interview, okay? It's the side door. We already know each other. We have colleagues in common. We've worked together. We volunteered together. You're comfortable with me. You trust me. People, come on. Everybody I know in the workforce, I got my job because I knew somebody.
Yeah,
so
it's
my
very
job,
true.
my job as a job seeker is to know you and avoid the formal interview if I possibly can, because that ain't going to do it. It's just not.
So here in the Midwest, kind of random here, we're big on basketball. That's the reason that I'm kind of sporting my team. So Pepperdine for me is a tournament worthy basketball team every few years. I can't say you're consistently there, just stating a fact. What state is that in, and then what does that school specialize in? I'm just curious because I've heard of it, but I know very little of it. And
Pepperdine's based in Malibu. It's one of
Okay.
the most beautiful campuses in the country. It overlooks the Pacific Ocean.
Nice.
I can't say that I was deeply involved in the school itself because
That's
I
fine.
did my doctorate at night at
Okay.
a satellite location.
Okay.
So it was just the coursework and the dissertation through that department, which was the School of Education and Psychology. So I can't tell you a whole lot about Pepperdine as an undergraduate school because I really
fine.
wasn't there much.
Just was interested because I had heard the school, and with all due respect, I had no idea it was in California. I would have just thrown out something random. Let me ask you this question. You do your same profession. I'm going to move you to Minneapolis, Minnesota. There's a lot less sun. There's a lot less this and that. Does your attitudes and characteristics, what you stand for, change a little bit based on the fact that there's depression, lack of sunlight, 20 below zero in the winter? Or does your core stay the same? And are you the same person doing the same thing in just a different state?
I moved there. I have to go with what's called beginner's mind. Okay, I'm a real smart guy with a doctorate from California. Thank you. Shut up. Okay, not interested. Okay, this is our culture. You're going to join our culture. Shut up and listen. Okay, and down the line, when we get a sense of who you are and you get a sense of how it works here, then we might ask you for your opinion. Yes, but I have to fit in with that environment. You don't come in. This is the same thing about the courses that I want, the coursework I want to do, the mandatory courses. I can't go to a college and say, hey, I'm going to change the whole structure of the college that's been around for 100 years because I'm a smart guy. Shut up, go sit in the corner. Okay, I slowly have to maybe I do a workshop here, a course there, and then once we have success, eventually it can grow into mandatory course work. Okay, but it has to be a slow build. Just like if you're getting laid with that woman in the bar, just like if you're going to get a job, it's a slow build. Okay, nothing happens instantly. All great things take time to happen. Yes, so you have to. You're a farmer. To allude to what you said before, you're a farmer. You're planting seeds. You're watering them. You're giving them sun. Yes, as many as you can. And It's not about who you know. It's not about what you know. It's how well you know them and how often you stay on their radar. Yes, so that over time, only one has to sprout. Yes,
Yep.
only one has to flower. That's the job. But I create a marketing sensibility that where you're coming from is you can contribute things to people in your industry. They need to know you. You need to stay in touch with them, and work will come out of that. Now, it's like jumping in a pool. You will get wet.
Exactly. Talk to me a little bit about. I really like that because it translates to the individual, but it also translates to. It reminds me of 50 people get fired from one factory. If you gave that advice to all 50 people, you could sprout that out and kind of do that, learn from it, and work. So, talk to us a little bit about your book. I've known you. You seem like a very interesting person. I know you want people to read it. Talk to us a little bit about why pick up the book? What's in it? I guess you would say.
There it is again. I worked in. I have a master's in TV. You said you had a degree in television. I have a master's in TV. If you say it, show it. I'm very proud of it. It distills the work I've done and what I've learned over 20 years. It's gotten great reviews. It's selling. It's adapted as a textbook for many courses, which I would want to see that nationwide.
That's awesome.
It's only $15 and $10 for the ebook. So it's not one of those, $80 textbooks. It's inexpensive. I love it, and I've gotten great feedback. They really like it. It's very conversational, and it seems to do the job for people.
That's cool. It's definitely something I'm going to check out. I think that could benefit a lot of our students. You know what I mean? Like, I think that'd be something if I had in my office and somebody saw it, I'd be like, hey, take this, go read it. You know what I mean? Like, if depending on who the student was, that sounds great. And do you talk about in the book? Go ahead.
I'm going to suggest something. Invite me to come speak to your students.
Oh, I'd love
that.
Invite
me to do a workshop.
You would be a good graduation speaker.
Yes, absolutely.
You would be an awesome speaker.
Let's take it to the next step. It's all about making a difference in other people's lives. And the book is great. My online courses are great. Nothing, and Zoom is wonderful, nothing will ever beat face-to-face. And being in an environment, in a classroom, it's extraordinary how people start to network in the classroom. They get it. I can see it in their eyes. They get it. Now I know. Now I know what I have to do. I don't like it. That's fine. I know what I have to do. I'm looking for X. So they go public with what it is they're looking for. What's their short-term, long-term goal? And it happens all the time. Someone else in the room goes, oh, I didn't know you wanted to do that. I have a friend who works there and they're looking for somebody. There's your job.
Yeah.
Right there.
Nick and I
Doesn't have to be complicated.
Nick and I were just talking before we got on with you about an informal segment that I like to have, and it's kind of a walking in your shoes. But the way that I would describe the interaction that we've had is to use a few words that come to mind. I think you're good-hearted, you're good-spirited, you're eclectic, you're positive, and you're an optimist. Those would be the 5 words that, without a lot of deciphering, just really come to mind, because you come alive when you see that person. And to be honest with you, you worked in fast food your whole life. Now you're working a desk job answering phones. Well, to you and I, doesn't really seem like you've really taken that step, but to some people that's a leap.
Yes.
I'm going to butch this quote, and it's actually by a random person, but Tupac, actually, the rapper, said something along the lines that the day that you have every day is the day that most people want to have and pray to have.
Yeah.
Because brutally honest, I love my job, but I had a lady come in today that was downtrodden, 15 years, couldn't provide the lady talked for 5 minutes about having to dump random ingredients into a bowl and mix it up just to have something to eat because she wasn't going to starve. And now she comes into our school, and I'll throw it out. She's probably going to make $35 to $40 an hour within 90 days of her graduating. Because that's what our industry is after.
That's
great. I go home tonight, and I got to be honest with you, man. I might be up until midnight tonight, kind of, pumping myself up a little bit. And then Nick is on the financial piece of it, just so you know, he's helping that same person see the vision, see an affordable plan, and do that. So the reason I gave you that was we do a lot of similar things because we're both life coaches, a little cliche, but we're evaluators, we're talent acquisition, we're seeing the
soft
best.
skills.
Exactly.
Soft skills,
So
yeah.
there's a lot of those ingredients that kind of cross pollinate, and Nick can't be more right. When I talk to somebody an hour and a half, hey, I hate to be like this, but you got to realize that if you and I are flying to a different part of the country, the mechanic that I put into school can affect your life.
Yes.
Can affect whether you got to sit out on the tarmac for 45 minutes and you're mad because you miss a connecting flight. So I take my job seriously, but at the end of the day, it's relationship building. It's not just getting someone in and I say hit them with a clipboard. I want to be sitting in a lawn chair more comfortably than hitting somebody with a clipboard. So this has been awesome because it's a lot of cross pollination, cross knowledge with a wealth of knowledge on your end, man. You really you were able to bridge the gap between your educational experience and the fact that you do have the doctor in front of your, the Chaz Austin, but you also didn't make it so elementary level that it was so basic. I think you were a nice kind of sandwich in the middle.
Thank you.
So that was awesome.
One of the distinctions, thank you very much. One of the distinctions I talk about is what's called monetizable passion. Just because you love something don't mean you can make a living at it. That's called a hobby. Yes? My wife and I are studying salsa dancing. Okay? No one in their right mind would pay us to salsa dance. That's fun. Okay? So you have to understand that you may work in a field or have a job that you don't love, but you really enjoy, that pays the bills. And that pays for your passion, which is hang gliding, for example. Okay? No one's going to pay you to hang glide, but every year for 2 weeks you go somewhere else in the world and you do your hang gliding and you get that out of your system. And then you go back to the job that you like where they treat you well and you're making some kind of an impact. You don't love it, but it pays the bills. It's good.
Yeah,
so people understanding that's important.
Something that you said, though, like those passions, even though they're hobbies, those can still lead to other things, right? Because, you're still building relationships in those hobbies,
That's
so
right.
you can network, you can build relationships doing the things that you do love.
So we had to get right after and start chopping wood, and then I'm going to let Nick give a formal social media, type send off. But talk to me a little bit about what you like to do away from the conversation. So don't take anything into consideration we just talked about. What do you like doing on a Friday afternoon when
Besides
work's
salsa
done
dancing?
Let me just back up one sec to your point about a hobby turning into a career. Famous Amos. He was an agent at William Morris and he baked cookies on the side. And people said, you should sell these. And he created Famous Amos. Yeah. So that happens. So what do I do for fun? I salsa dance, that's a humbling experience. An educated guy, but my brain does not connect to my feet. So we have a fabulous teacher, and he shows us a step, and my wife gets it after a couple times. Takes me 100 times till I get it.
Of course I bet.
That's just how I'm. So it humbles me because when I'm teaching people and they're struggling, I'm a student too sometimes, and I struggle as well. The payoff on that is my wife's smile. Her favorite thing to do is dance, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get her to smile. And I'm approaching mediocrity as a dancer.
Nice.
Okay,
Nice.
So do that, play pickleball, shoot pool. I live near West Hollywood where Barney's Beanery is. So my wife and I will shoot pool there. We love to travel. We just got back from South America. Went to Lima for a family wedding and then on to Rio, which was beautiful. Love to travel, love to read, love good movies, hanging with friends. Those are the hobbies. That's what I like to do on a Friday night. I want to answer the same question
and give Nick an opportunity because, it's all about relationship building. So I'm actually a pickleball instructor. So I played basketball for 35 years, pickleball instructor. Like to say I can hold it down. I'm nothing special because my wife kind of said pickleball or family. I chose family and casual pickleball. I used to play all the time. And I bass fish. I drive about 20,000 miles a year bass fishing in about 7 to 9 state radius.
Wow.
If it's Saturday morning, I'm up at 1:30 in the morning and I'm on the road somewhere heading to a bass tournament. So
wow.
I'm going to let Nick kind of tell you a little bit about what he does, and then he's got kind of a a tag there.
I mean, I like music. I like to play the guitar, and I like to sing, and I like to go to concerts and things like that. I like to camp. I have 3 kids, and they're on the tail end right now. My second oldest is he's graduating on Saturday, and then my youngest will be a sophomore. What I like to do and what I do is constantly evolving, because I'm at that stage in my life where I can do other things. I'm not married. Just kind of like rediscovering myself. I could probably benefit from your course, Chaz. Like definitely rediscovering myself at this point. But I don't know that I don't do anything super interesting like pickleball or anything like that, although I would. I need to get out there and do some more physical things.
My father had a great line about kids. He said when they're little, they're so cute, you want to eat them up. And when they get older, you're sorry that you didn't.
Yeah. Well, my dad says the only reason he had us boys was for the grandkids. So I feel like I got a little gap there between, like the time they graduate, hopefully anyway, and then before I have grandkids to kind of, move around, do some things. So, but
children and grandparents get along great because they have a common enemy.
Exactly. There you go. Yes. Well, Chaz, we talked about your book. Where's the best place for someone to find it? To go to Amazon?
Amazon.
Amazon? Okay. So we'll make sure we get a link in the show notes and in the description. And then other than that, where do you like to be found, or do you like to be found? Do you have a social media? You have Instagram, TikTok, any of that kind of stuff?
I have my own website, but the best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I've got over 36,000 followers now on LinkedIn, and I post stuff constantly and regularly about excerpts from my book and interesting, useful things for people in the workplace and what's happening there. So Dr. Chaz Austin on LinkedIn, and they can follow me there and get more information about me than anyone they'd ever want to know about.
Okay, and I'll definitely send you a connection, because that's one of the outlets that we post our at least our shorts, our different clips of the show. So definitely that way I can tag you on there and everything like that. And we will. I promise you that I will talk to not only our school director, but also our career services director, because she's the one that usually puts together the graduations and the guest speakers and all that. But I think you would be. I mean, if you're willing to come to Indiana, you'd be speaker.
It's not the other side of the moon, for Pete's sake. It's just Indiana. Come on. Sure. Put me on a plane. I'm there. No problem.
Dr. Chaz,
you go where the work is.
Dr. Chaz, to pay homage to your shirt, I think you crushed it.
Great.
I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
I don't get it. Get it.
Crushed pineapple.
Okay.
Come on now. Come on now. Sorry, when your humor is this lame, you're always looking for new opportunities, and you gotta kind of throw it out there when you can. So.
But no, the conversation it was great. It was like sitting. The only thing was missing was beer. We were sitting around just chatting about things. Very stimulating. Thank you so much. It's great to talk to you.